Good morning, investing bros. 'Tis I, T Shroom, welcoming you in here for another beautiful day of trading on these crypto exchanges. I am very, very excited to bring you some news here. It's not a wash. I really do think we got a hint here from Gary Gensler on what we might expect in May 23rd when that spot Ethereum ETF approval date is scheduled to be made, because that is the final deadline. In fact, I think it was yesterday. We didn't report on it because it's not super important. But yesterday, BlackRock, the spot Ethereum ETF, was delayed. Who cares? I mean, it kind of doesn't matter. But just so you're tracking, the SEC has not forgotten that ETF is still on their desk, waiting to be approved or disapproved, or precedent setting rather. Going to Congress and asking for more time after the final deadline. Well, let's go ahead and jump on into kind of the news here, the new information that we've gotten from Gary Gensler. He's got a little bit of a different pitch here over on Bloomberg Television. He was asked a little bit about the spot Ethereum ETF. We're going to hear about that, and then I'm going to kind of lay out what we know about Gary in the past from Ethereum. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now let's take a listen.
Of course, we are now about 2 months into a world in which spot Bitcoin products exist. They have had incredible demand, more than $8 billion in inflows. Now the optimism is Ether spot ETFs are next. Do you not first have to settle the question as to whether Ether is a security or a commodity? Can you answer that first?
Well, Kaylee, again, on any one of these crypto tokens, it's about the facts and circumstances as to whether the investing public is anticipating a profit based on the efforts of others. But we do have filings in front of us. I'm not going to comment. I will say this is a highly speculative asset class. One could just look at the volatility of Bitcoin in the last few days. And look, I grew up loving roller coasters. Maybe in my adult years, I don't ride them as much, but you...
Smash the like if you guys like roller coasters too. If you're basically twins with Gary.
Should be conscious as the investing public that this is a bit of a roller coaster ride on these volatile assets. And then the question is how firm is the foundation of the, you get to the top of that hill.
It's very firm, Gary. So he does ultimately shed a little bit of light there. Not a ton of light, I will say, but he does shed a little bit of light there, saying essentially that they're going, the aspect of the Howey Test that they're really zooming in on here is how much the efforts of others is contributing to profits in people who have invested into Ethereum. Now, what I think is going on here is that he's nodding, he's kind of gesturing to the Howey Test. He's saying, this is the one part of the Howey Test that we're kind of zeroing in on. But ultimately, what I think is going on here is he's dodging the question, right? Dodging the question completely. And I'll finish the clip and you guys can kind of see he just straight up says, I'm dodging the question. Well, what that means to me is kind of a no news is good news. And I'll kind of give a final stamp on this here in just a second. But for those of you who don't know what the Howey Test is, it's important. Now, you might be tuning in being like, T-Shroom, I don't care about any of this stuff. Tell me the next altcoin that's going to 400x today. Okay, listen, you're in crypto, which is good. Buy some Bitcoin and chill. If you don't have any Bitcoin and you're looking for 400x altcoins, you're wrong. Okay, get right. Figure out why you have that motivation in your life. Change it and buy some Bitcoin. Okay, and then come back to me in a year and start asking about altcoins. Okay, I'm going to talk about what is important to those people who have invested in Ethereum, have invested in Bitcoin and the top 200 altcoins. Now, look, if you're holding coins down in the top 1,000, good for you. I hope you have conviction in those projects. Nothing wrong with doing that as long as you understand the risks. But just like Gary Gensler said, you have to be aware that the crypto markets are a roller coaster, guys. So the Howey Test. Oh, is it boring? Oh, are you going to have to learn something here? I'm sorry. So sorry. Howey Test here for investment contracts. Is it an investment of money? Okay. Yes, definitely. Is it in a common enterprise? Ethereum, common enterprise, perhaps, with an expectation of profits? And is it on solely the efforts of others? So these last two are definitely the ones that are within question, right? and you could even maybe make an argument that it may not be a common enterprise. But ultimately here, the bigger question, and we're going to get to it here, which is this. The CFTC Advisory Committee actually votes to advance pioneering digital assets taxonomy for agency review. Why? Because this sucks. The Howey Test sucks. The Howey Test should not be the ruler in which we are measuring whether or not crypto digital assets are securities or not. The CFTC are the ones getting it right here. And I think that the timing is impeccable. The timing is not coincidental. Right, they're coming out and saying, and for context, the CFTC is kind of the sister agency to the SEC, right? And they're kind of seen as the more sane, the more stable regulator. But make no mistake, Gary Gensler was also, I believe, he got his start in the regulatory world over at the CFTC. So it's not like Gary isn't the friend of the CFTC. Anyway, the point is that while Ethereum, in my opinion, and the opinion of the crypto market as a whole, does still pass the Howey Test, meaning that it's not a security, Judge Torres in the Ripple v. SEC case ruled that Ripple was not a security. Therefore, it is very unlikely that Ethereum is a security as well. But the whole thing is kind of dumb. Whether or not we're trying to assess if Ethereum or XRP or Cardano or Bitcoin is a security based on this antiquated test. You could make the argument that this test works well for companies like ExxonMobil, right? For Apple computers. That's more of a business. But for digital assets, I think that it's probably not. And the CFTC seems to agree with me because they're coming out with new guidance, a new taxonomy for digital assets. Now, is that going to be coming out this year? I don't know. I mean, these government agencies don't move very fast. But we'll see. So let's finish this clip, and then I'll show you some more evidence of where I think this is going from here.
Ride on these volatile assets, and then the question is how firm is the foundation of the? You get to the top of that hill. How's the foundation underneath it, and are there cash flows, or what's the use case? For thousands of these tokens, there's about 15 or 20,000 of them. They also may be securities because the investing public is relying on the efforts of some group of entrepreneurs in the middle of these projects.
And would you consider Ether as part of that group that may be securities?
I understand you're asking the question, but again, I'm going to defer on that question.
Beautiful. Spoken like a true secretary of the SEC, right? Deferring on the question. No, I actually take that back. A true leader of a regulator would have done so many different things by now. First of all, he wouldn't have taken what looks like taking bribes from interest groups that don't want crypto to succeed, right? That's probably the first thing a true leader would have done at this point. And then there's a litany of other things. Now, Gary Gensler at one point in time was actually, a pretty good candidate to be the head of the major regulator, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the top regulator for the financial markets here in America that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the world, to be honest with you. And at one point in time, Gary Gensler was really flexing his knowledge in crypto. He lectured at MIT, and there is one clip that has surfaced from the internet as a result of the virality of that Bloomberg interview in which I just showed you. Because this MIT clip seems to indicate that Gary may have already made his decision, at least in his personal understanding of crypto. But in his professional regulatory understanding of crypto, we're going to have to wait till May 23rd, excuse me.
2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said, regardless of what it might have been in 14, it's now sufficiently decentralized that we'll consider it not a security. And in 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said, regardless of what it...
Regardless, you got to love that. So back here, I don't know exactly when this, 2018 was when that was recorded, it looks like. But he said that it's been sufficiently decentralized and they consider it not a security. Now, he was quoting the SEC, the former chairman of the SEC, I suppose. However, he knew it. We know he knows it, because it's on YouTube. You can go watch all of these MIT lectures where he's basically explaining how smart contracts work, how blockchain works, the very fundamentals of blockchain and decentralization, right? And he does weigh in on regulatory matters. He's probably anticipating that he's going to be a regulator at some point in his life. And at this point, he may have already been over at the CFTC. And MIT was just, kind of asking, hey, come lecture our students. It's very clear that something has changed. And it's, to me, pretty clear that that something that has changed is interest groups filling his pockets with incentives to do or say certain things. Now, okay, so T-Shroom, everybody already knows that Gary Gensler's, less than a good guy. What do we do from here? What's going to happen to our ETH bags? Well, I have created some guidance on that. So first of all, this is a big story to watch, and we've already covered it here, but this is a big shoe to fall. If this can get passed, a new taxonomy for crypto can get passed before the decision on May 23rd, that would be very beneficial, right? Because more than likely, the entire question of whether or not Ethereum is a security, whether XRP is a security, whether Bitcoin is a security, all of that would be answered by this new regulatory framework. Now, that would be I'm not saying that that's going to be the best outcome, right? But this could throw a huge curveball in the entire process here. Now, ultimately, where do I stand on this? Well, one thing I want to say is that Eric Balcones, who gave the 90% guidance, him and his team, along with James Seyffert, gave that 90% guidance, 90% likelihood that the Bitcoin, not the Ethereum, the Bitcoin spot ETF would be approved on January 10th. It was. And so, they were right. So I really like the percentages that Bloomberg specifically the Bloomberg ETF prediction team has given. They've also been extremely helpful to the crypto world. You may not really observe that. That's okay. We kind of filter it through you. Not everybody at Bloomberg is super awesome and trustworthy as much as Eric Balcones is. So the point is that they will be issuing guidance. They will be issuing a similar percentage likelihood of the passage, the approval of the Ethereum spot ETF. They have not released that yet, to my knowledge, and as soon as they do, that is going to be very good for the market to get a little bit more certainty, a little bit more data of what some of the insiders think, what some of the insiders are projecting. So there's that, and then there's this. There's this fact here that we have to remember, that it isn't like a group of middle schoolers who have gotten together and they're like, rah, 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 we love crypto. Hey, SEC, will you approve our ETF so that we can have institutional investment into Ethereum? No, it's not a bunch of like ragtag group of Wall Street, bottom of the barrel folks. This is BlackRock. BlackRock is the one bringing the Ethereum ETF to the SEC's desk, right? And they have remember, they still have the same success rate that they had before, except now the number is larger than 575. I don't know how many there are, how many ETFs they've had approved since then, but it's definitely at least 576 to 1. They've only ever had one denied from the SEC, and if you go back and you look in history, as I did with my infinite curiosity, it was some experimental thing that it was in this weird phase for BlackRock, where they kind of knew that it wasn't going to pass. It was a weird. It had nothing to do with crypto. It had something to do with like the bond market, and they were trying to. It was just this weird experimental thing. So essentially, all of the ETFs that BlackRock has submitted have passed, except for that one, which was, I don't know what was going on. It was a mad scientist that they let have too much power, and he submitted an ETF that didn't work. Could that be the same? Could there also be, there would be the second ETF rejection for BlackRock? It's possible that ETF could be the second rejection. It is possible. It was also possible with 10% likelihood, according to Bloomberg analysts, James Seyffert and Eric Balcones, 10% likelihood that it would be rejected, right? It wasn't because they didn't, right? Gary Gensler was the swing vote, and he voted to approve. The question is, will he vote to approve again for the spot Ethereum ETF? We got a little bit of insight, not very much, I will say, a little bit of insight in this interview that I just showed you guys from Bloomberg, that Gary is at least saying no news, right? No updates. He gestured to the Howey Test. Of course he did. That's nothing new to the crypto markets that have been watching this story, watching this question like a hawk. But ultimately, he does not answer the question. He defers. And so what do I conclude? No news is good news, right? No news is good news. We continue to anticipate a thumbs up from the SEC. Why? I think the biggest reason is because of who is submitting the applications, right? It's not just BlackRock, but it's BlackRock. Like BlackRock is one of the applicants. So that's where I stand on this, guys. Let me know. Do you disagree with me? Do you think that the ETF is not going to be approved for Ethereum? Do you have some kind of reason to believe that? And how do you feel about your investments being compared to a roller coaster ride? How dare he? Are you going to just take that laying down from Gary, or are you going to fight back? Let us know in the comments what you think of Gary Gensler. Do you think that he's a great, upstanding regulator and has helped incentivize growth and innovation in the U.S. financial markets? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Now, I'm seeing some folks here in the chat. I'm seeing Gia S., and she's saying good morning to Justin Eubanks. So Justin Eubanks must be watching as well. Good morning, Justin. We've got Bina Darabazand said, hi, everyone. You love it. You got to see it. The Kid Coman said, I'm amused when everyone says we are so free, yet fail to mention how ridiculous our taxes are. We are not free. So somebody seems to be getting in the spirit of tax season, which gives me the opportunity to remind you all that if you are invested or traded crypto in 2023, head on over to our tax partners, decrypted.tax, to set up your free 30 or 60-minute consultation with the tax pros over there at decrypted.tax. It's the partners that Tim and I trust with our personal and business taxes. So head on over there. Don't waste any more time. Get a jump start on tax season. I'm actually doing my taxes literally today. I'm meeting with them today to get all that crap sorted out. Get it off my shoulders. It's gonna feel really good. Papa Guth coming in here saying, can't blame a guy for taking easy money. Whew. I can, Papa Guth, but I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. Eric, almost called you Eric Polkanis. Eric Wallen said they took bribes from Ethereum, then bribes from the banks. So that is another tick mark probably towards the approval of the spot Ethereum ETF, that there is some evidence. I wouldn't say to me that it's compelling me to believe that the evidence is leading to truth, but there is evidence that Gary Gensler and Ethereum aren't like this. They're like this. Right. So something to think about, something to consider. Piper Academy jumping in saying, good morning, bros. Piper Academy going live just after this show. Make sure you tune in there. Let's see what else we got. Jenna X jumping in saying, good morning. So good morning to you, Jenna X. Has her live show at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. That'll be going live here in just a few minutes. Gary is a professional non-answer giver. Absolutely. I think there's a word for that, and it starts with a P and rhymes with politician. Drew P said, Howey Test, 1930s way to judge how much manure to put on your corn. I think it is something like that. Something like that. That's not far off from the truth. What I remember is that historically, the Howey Test derived from whether or not an apple orange orchard or something, like buying shares in an orange orchard, constituted as security, and if the oranges themselves were securities, or something like this. Nancy Croy said, I love roller coasters and any ride that goes upside down. That is pretty cool. That is awesome. Oh, Jenna X jumping in here said, doing your own crypto taxes is a lot like trying to wax your own hoo-ha. Painful and slow. Just go to a professional. I love the comparison there. As someone who frequently moves on in topics, we will do that. But I appreciate the input there, Jenna. We love it. All right, let's see. Now, we've got another story here from Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki giving a very bullish estimate here, and then we'll get into the charts here. We'll look at Bitcoin, and we'll look at some of these other high-flyer AI coins. Man, they are making your boy very, very happy, and a little bit more rich. A little bit more rich. I'm underexposed to AI, and it's making me a sad boy. Robert Kiyosaki said, Bitcoin is on fire. The biggest mistake you can make is to procrastinate. Important to start, even only for $500. Next stop, $300,000 per Bitcoin in 2024. Let's jump over to the Bitcoin charts and see just what kind of a percentage a $300,000 Bitcoin would give us from today's prices. Guys, you got to zoom out quite a bit here. In fact, I'm just going to there we go. So going from today's prices at 60, is it 67.3 right now? Goodness gracious, 67.1. So let's go a little bit lower. There we go. It's not going to matter here in the final analysis because this is going to be a monster number. That would so Robert Kiyosaki's prediction would give us 345% upside in this year. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys think that Robert Kiyosaki is completely crazy here? This is a very high estimate, I would say. I have not heard the $300,000 number thrown out there. I personally think it's possible. I do think it's possible, right? I think it's high. I think it's a high percentage. I think it's a high percentage to think that we're going to get that in a year. But crazier things have happened with Bitcoin, right? Certainly crazier things have happened. So returning back to the charts, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more on it. And I know I'm not sharing my screen yet. I'm doing it for the benefit of the bros so that you guys don't have to see the crazy messiness that is zooming in on a screen. Jenna X can't stop laughing. She's loving it all. She's got the laughing emoji there. Thanks, Gary said, all right, I'll check her stream out now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go ahead and check out Jenna X. She'll be going live at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Let's see. Jason S said trying to inflate price to get people to buy. Now there is that possibility as well that Gary Gensler's motivation here isn't that he's taken bribes. It actually could be that he's just trying to pump or dump the coin and he's going to trade accordingly, right? The old Nancy Pelosi style politician. Zach Martin said, thought you were going to say someone who frequently waxes his own hoo-ha. Oh man, we're having fun. We are having fun. Let's see if we can have a little bit more fun on the roller coaster that is these crypto markets. Let's take a look here at, I've got Bitcoin on the 4-hour pulled up. So we have not made a second jump up to go test these all-time highs, right? And that's disappointing to see. To me, this is leading to a healthy price structure that we can start to build a foundation on to push higher. Because what Tim and I have been saying, and again, we've been a broken record, and Tim has gone much more in depth than I have on this. Tim, my partner here at Investing Bros, if you're just tuning in, make sure that you smash the like button and consider subscribing if you're getting some value out of this video. But what we would have liked to have seen, if you're very bullish on Bitcoin right now, right in this moment, is you would have liked to have seen Bitcoin come up and test 69,000 and then flip it, confirm that resistance as support, and then move sideways, right? That is probably the most bullish outcome for right now. But I think what we're going to probably see over the next couple of days and into the weekend is the next best thing, right? And the next best thing is sideways from here, right? And as the attention does seem like it's shifting to Ethereum, at least for today. Don't know how long that's going to last. But ultimately, sideways from here, probably pinging around, finding some local levels of support and resistance, and then having some kind of event where we get a flush, test lower prices, probably won't test as low as this previous wick here that we had, right? And I believe a lot of this had to do with the Coinbase outage and just general overbought kind of sentiment. And then we come back, right? And then it's sideways, and then we test, and we flip resistance, and then we go higher, right? I think that's kind of the most likely case here. But as we've seen day after day, week after week, as Tim and I get on these live streams and we report to you, is that we look at the charts, we see what the most likely outcome is, and then Bitcoin's like, nope, just going to go on up. And that has a lot to do with the ETFs. These ETFs are just creating monster bullish momentum for Bitcoin, and it stops surprising me. It has stopped surprising me. Back here, I was predicting that, we would come down. Actually, it was back here. I was thinking, Bitcoin, you guys might remember this well. Those have been tuning into the 9 a.m. stream for a while. You will remember this box, right? I was thinking, man, buyers are just so voracious, but I do feel like we need a pullback. We need a pullback to come test lower, and then boom, we got the opposite of a pullback. We get a huge move through the levels of resistance that just pushed through, consolidated, pushed through again, and then has had a test. Finally, has had a somewhat significant little bit of a pullback, right? About 15%. Now, 15% is modest, though. 15% is pretty modest for this phase of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at a longer-term chart for Bitcoin, right, what you'll find is that in this phase of the market, right, Bitcoin becomes more volatile. Now, ultimately, that volatility translates to the price moving higher, the price moving up and to the right. But if you look at previous cycles here, if you look at the most recent cycle, you can see that on our ascent higher, Bitcoin had a pullback here in January, right, the beginning of 2021. It had a pullback of 32%, right? And this is a monthly chart, so this is a weekly chart, so this happened over 2-week candles. So in 2 weeks, 32% pullback, right? Now the question that the crypto market is asking is, are those ETFs powerful enough, bullish enough to defy historical precedent of major pullbacks in Bitcoin bull market transitions? So a transition from, a transition from a bear market, right, into a bull market has been marked. And it's not just this transition. Every transition in the halving usually is marked with a significant pullback. So the question again, I will rearticulate. The question is, can we use the power of those bullish ETFs, right, from Fidelity, from BlackRock, where money seems to be pouring in nonstop day after day, setting new records, it seems. Every week we get a new record of inflows, and it makes all the other ETFs look crazy. It really does. And it is very bullish. Is all that enough to defy gravity, to defy history, and keep us from coming back and testing levels like 55, right? 55 would put us right around a 20% pullback. And that would be, in my opinion, healthy. Now you might say, I don't want 20% pullback in my holdings for Bitcoin. How is that healthy, T-Shroom? It's healthy because then it's healthy because that is a small pullback compared to what could happen if there's no pullback in theory, right? If we just keep going straight up, and then there's an event, what do you think is going to happen? All of those new hands that got into Bitcoin are going to potentially sell, and we could have a 30, 40, 50% pullback. And then slightly stronger hands could see that and be like, I'm out. This is scary. I don't like this anymore. And God bless them, right? You almost can't blame them. They don't have the conviction that a lot of people have, right? Versus if you go ahead and take a little bit of the medicine now, right? Create a little bit more of a sustainable and strong price structure here. Take that 20% pullback down to 55 here. Then it's very unlikely that you're going to see a 40 or 50% pullback later on. Now, all of this can be completely invalid. All of that precautionary kind of, I'm going to nest this within like, I hope there's a little bit more of a pullback so that we have better price structure to go higher. That's the old argument here. All of that could be completely invalidated by the unprecedented bullish power of these ETFs. And that really is the question. Are the ETFs so powerful that it defies history, defies gravity, and basic trading technical analysis? The answer could be yes. But we are reminding you all day after day, week after week, that the answer could be no. What do you do about that? What if the answer is no? Well, that means we're going to have a pullback. Hopefully it's a healthy one. And when you see that pullback, don't sell. Don't be filled with fear. Be filled with the thought, where should I buy? How much lower could this go? Should I go ahead and buy now? Right? When you see blood in the streets, when you see people screaming and pulling their hair out, that's when you want to be thinking, should I buy? Now, I've talked about Bitcoin quite a bit. There's a lot of other altcoins that are popping off, right? We're going to talk about them at the 3 p.m. show. Really quickly, though, I'll jump over to the bubbles. Peeth, having a great day. Jupe, really kind of perking my interest this morning. Jupe, we don't know. We haven't seen very much time that Jupe has been public, has been ICO'd, right? So we don't really know its price discovery potential. I think that this coin could be one of the most undervalued coins on the crypto markets today, right? This is not something that I own yet. It's basically the DEX coin for Solana, the major one, and it's really good too. The DEX is like really good. This one could be very good. And today we're seeing some validation that it can move. It can move with the rest of the market. Up until today, I would say that Jupe has really not impressed me price movement wise, right? Today, that's starting to perk my interest. It's starting to make me think a little bit differently about the coin. As you can see, it's kind of been it's been a huge bummer. I mean, it's kind of hard to really understand exactly the price action here. At an ICO, you kind of go into alien world, and not a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. But since it's ICO, it's basically been a stable coin. Well, that's changed, and I'm on the weekly chart. That has changed here recently. We have actually seen Jupe come back to life and start to make a move higher. So Jupe, definitely something to keep an eye on here. And then I'm in the top 200, aren't I? Very nice. Let's see what else is popping off here. So the meme coins getting a pretty big haircut with Pepe, Sheeb, Bonk all down in double digits. Sheeb actually not. Uniswap also down in double digits. So it's not just the meme coins. You're also seeing just high flyers in general getting a little bit of that hair cut. AVAX up 10%, FET.ai, and the rest of the AI names are the ones getting the rotation. So what does this look like to me? It looks like a bunch of pro traders pumped the meme coins, took profits, and are rotating into utility coins. That's just what it looks like to me. It's a tale as old as time, right? You pump the penny stocks, and then you take your profit and you put it in ExxonMobil and Apple. Guys, it's not rocket science. These are the rotations to watch for. Keep your sanity. Don't be getting super invested into meme coins thinking that you're going to be a millionaire in one trade. Has it happened to people? It sure it has. But what do you think happens next? They try to do it again and they lose it all, right? Or maybe they don't, right? But that's like a 0.01% of the population, the trading population, that has the capacity to become a millionaire in one trade, first of all. And then it's even smaller percentage of that group that has the potential to actually keep that money, right? Am I saying to completely steer away from meme coins? No, meme coins are fun. Meme coins can make you rich if you know what you're doing. But ultimately, guys, if you really want to get rich in crypto, it's going to be, you're in the right time, I will say. Are you going to become a millionaire? Depends on how much you're investing, right? But right now, there's the only better time to invest in crypto was since October, right? Because right now we are at the beginning of the bull market. It's very exciting, but with the excitement comes volatility, and I agree with Gary that the crypto markets are a roller coaster. And right now, you got to keep hold to your sanity, keep hold to your convictions in your strong coins. If you want to play the meme markets, go ahead. But ultimately realize that it's the utility tokens that are going to be making people rich over the long term, which is how the most people in the world have become rich over time. Very few people who are wealthy today got wealthy in a week. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Most people who are wealthy today got wealthy over many years, and maybe over 2 years. In the crypto markets, there's a lot more people in the crypto markets who became wealthy quicker, but quicker was probably more like 2 years, not a week. Hopefully that was something that somebody needed to hear. I'm T-Shroom, and if you really like this video, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want more alpha like this, and I'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You've got some great shows coming up after this one. Make sure you tune into them as well. If you're trading, keep your stop losses tight, and ladies and gentlemen, for the love of God, stay hydrated.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.